Hello, everybody. This is Susan for SLC Aquatics coming to you live from the office fish room today. And we are looking forward to doing part two of the albinism in guppies and how can we call guppies albino when they have colors in their finnage. And should we ask for some kind of new labeling system to actually uh, describe the scientific um, process of what's actually bringing together the albinism and the colors at the same time? To recap some of the things we discussed last week, we touched on the MC1R um, uh, effects within the genes and the T plus and the T negative. I'm not sure if that's called an allele or anyway, it's an enzyme within the pigmentation of the colors that goes on within the uh, the process that goes on within the coloring of the guppy. And we know that albinism is the absence of melanin, which is the blacks and brown colors within the guppy. And I think we all agreed that for a guppy to be labeled albino, that it does need to have a colorless eye or a pink or red eye. And my friend Ken is the one who got me started on this subject. He asked me if I had time for some guppy questions. So he asked me three questions in an email. And he said, since when did albinos get color? And then the word leucistic came up. And thank you so much for those likes and shares. Hey, Dina at Everything Aquatic. I want to say hi to Diego at Pet Sonics. I want to say hi to Swampy Acres Homestead, who's been here for a little while chatting with me. I want to say hi to Fish Central. And I do not think anyone else was in chat. If they were and I can't see it in chat anymore, I apologize. So that was just a little recap of what we discussed about being leucistic. And leucistic is. I think we explained that leucistic, like in the axolotls, is white with pink or red eyes, and a lot of their um, extremities are pinkish. Um, leucistic is, I think, some color, but it's still I think it's still missing. Well, I'm not going to recap because my mind's tired and I haven't put the definitions down in front of me, and I don't want to give out any bad information. But Ken's first question was, since when did albinos get color? Is it correct to call these albinos? And we discussed about not only in guppies but in other species that albinism can be the absence of color. It can be a solid white color with a pink or red eye. Yes, albinism is a fascinating topic. It really is. And, some people get very frustrated at mislabeling things. And we should be educated in the hobby enough to know that when I'm in a store shopping and this guy's selling this fish as an albino, but it has a blue, black, or a brown eye, and I'm going to say, well, where's the albinism? Because this fish has color, but you're selling it as an albino. We also know that the albinism gene or the effect of albinism can be a defect within the process of the melanin and the T plus and T negative alleles within the DNA um, alignment. And I know there's other terms. I'm not a scientist, but I'm just trying to educate myself on what some of these terms mean. We do know that the melanin is the color pigment within the process of the XY chromosomes, and we know that albinism is a recessive trait. Colors that are dominant are usually, I think, your browns, your blacks, um, and I think red and blues can be dominant. I have to go back and refresh my history on some of that because I have I have information, believe me. So I'm not going to try to go into all of that right now, but they don't like the term white as a definition for albino because they said white is a color. Hey, Tanked Aquatics, welcome to the live stream. I'm going to slow down because I'm trying to get ahead of myself. And we also said that we agreed that the pink eye or the red shades around the eye uh, can be a trait of albinism. And then he asked questions about the Moscow guppy and the Japanese guppy. But if anybody looked at any of the comments on um, last week's stream, I'm going to try to share the screen and see what happens. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Um, Here we have about halfway excellent discussion so far. One concern is the use of the word white to describe albino. There is a big difference between colorless and white. And picture a glass of water versus a glass of milk. Okay, back to the video. So he went back and watched the rest of the video. And I said, yeah, white is a color or a combination of other colors. But I want to share what Renee Ros, excuse me, Roskowski shared with us. She said, if you want to learn more about color genetics and guppies, Philip Shattuck and Alan Bias have a wealth of information on guppy color genetics. And she also talked about albino refers to a lack of melanin color pigment cells, and other kinds of color pigment cells aren't affected. Therefore, the albino guppies can have certain colors like reds and yellows, and leucistic refers to less melanin, which is the black, uh, I think the black pigment color, and an irregular distribution, but not a complete lack. So leucistic can produce muted color patterns and irregular color patterns. Um, Another thing that I know that we had a good discussion with Dragon Layer, Tanked Aquatics, um, Tammy at Discus Talk, and there was a few more that jumped in with some great information last week. We also found out that in reptiles, the T plus and the T negative, I forget the word that it stands for, but it is a color spectrum within the gene, and the T minus is the absence of that color or the inability for the cells of the body to absorb that color. So, kind of like a defect. And the D plus would be the presence of that color pigment. But we also know that the MC1R can affect the outcome of albinism because of the the melanin coloring process does not take place within the cells. And sometimes it's like in guppies now, they're breeding guppies that actually reproduce in F1 and F2s. They are starting to reproduce themselves. So they are not defects unless you want to make call the whole colony a defect, but that's not true. Um, Albinism is a fascinating topic, Dina says. The way I explain a whitefish versus albino is that they will have a dark eye and not the colorless pink eye of an albino. And I agree with that, Dina. I don't think there needs to be any relabeling of the albino guppy because we have an example of, let me see if I can find, I think I closed it. This is Moscow. So sorry. But Renee Renosky, she helps me a lot with the subjects. And hybrids are a cross of two different species. When crossing different colors of guppies, that is simply a cross of a strain line of guppies and produces the same species, and it's not really a hybrid. Um, the way I explain, okay, yeah. Crown, crown tail, half moon, hi, welcome to the live stream. Pet Sonic said translucent. Yeah, translucent, clear, colorless, and there's some other good terms. And I did have some examples, but I don't know where it is right now. I think it's in my email. So let me go back to my email and try to find out that email that Ken sent to me. He said he thought I would really like this fish. And so I'm going to share it with you guys. I don't know where he got this, but this is an example of an albino guppy that is full of color in all kinds of color spectrum, almost rainbow. But to me, the colors are still translucent. And when I was reading this article on the MC1R gene in the guppy, I want to give accolades to where they belong. This was written at National Library of Medicine, but it is an article about the MC1R gene in the guppy Poecilia reticulata, and it's talking about genotypic and phenotypic polymorphism. And of course, the background here is important because they said that guppies are very important models to use for studying sexual selection. We know that most, hey Don, welcome to the live stream. We know that most male guppies carry the color traits, um, the dorsal and caudal fin, and sometimes the ventral fins. But the female can also have coloration in her dorsal, caudal, and ventral fins that influence what the F1 and F2 generation of the guppy will produce. They also say that we focused on the melanic black pigmentation of guppies, and they examined the genetic variations in the melanocortin 1 receptor. That's what the MC1R stands for. And this gene, because of the variation in this gene, is known to contribute to polymorphism of the melanin pigmentation in several animal species, not just in guppies. And you have to understand that the albinism and the lack of the melanin pigmentation in guppies is influenced by several different genes or enzymes within the strain, and they've studied wild guppies. They've studied guppies raised in captivity under selective breeding, and they've come up to the conclusion that the MC1R gene showed a variation in 5 wild guppies that were taken from Trinidad, and they examined that the populations also differed in terms of the allele frequencies. So they identified a significant association between the milanin pigmentation and the MC1R genotype in fish obtained from aquarium shops. Now, when I was young, the wild guppies that I had the iridescent pearl type colors with the orange and the black spotting. Some of them had bars that came from the Endler strain, kind of a cross between the breeds, but the guppies were small like Endlers. They were not large like the fancy guppies today. Crown Tail Half Moon says, yes, dragon guppies, females, are heavily colorful, just like the males. Yes, I've had that strain before. And even in the Dumbo ear mosaic dragon guppy, they've been bred. Uh, Usually they come from people would, I just read this, that you would think that they came from Asia. Some of them do come from Asia. But we're going to get on the subject of Moscow guppies today too, because we didn't get to touch on it last week. But the bottom line is albino guppies can be just that, colorless with pink or red eyes. Albino guppies can also be have the pink and red eye with colors in their finnage and also in their bodies. Usually their heads are colorless or white. And also they found out that in ornamental strain guppies, the alleles numbers 963 and 969 BP, I do not know what the BP stands for, were found in the wild populations. The ornamental strain guppies with a 963 BP MC1R tended to show less black pigmentation. So that number's allele right there in the DNA alignment showed less black pigmentation. The 969 BP MC1R, although the association between the MC1R genotype and the black pigmentation disappeared in the F2 offspring. Now, if any of y'all have had strains of guppies that were known to reproduce themselves, so the strain fairly looked identical with every birth. Hello, Ed. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. I was thinking of you today, and I hope you're doing much better. So, if you've raised guppies that were what we called a specific strain of guppy, and they were reproducing themselves. The fathers was reproducing good sons, and the mothers were reproducing good daughters. Yes, Crown Tail Half Moon says, I think they imported the guppies um, to Germany and Asian countries where they developed the fancy types we see today in the hobby. And also tonight, I'm going to bring out some information about the Moscow guppy that I didn't know. Because when I think of Moscow, what do you think of when you think of a Moscow guppy? To me, I think of a long body. I usually think of 3/4 to a full body color. I also think of long dorsal fins and long caudal fins. But I read an article on that Moscow guppy tonight that's going to maybe open up some other channels. But anyway, we know that here in figure 2, we have different phenotype variations among the MC1R genotype. A is a plus male, and here is A right here. I'm going to give it full screen. Here is A. So this guppy has both the milanin gene. They have a black eye or a dark colored eye. And then in B, which is here, it has some of the red and the yellow, but it's lacking the melanin color pigment. Same for C. C is missing more of the dark pigmentation of the melanin pigment and starting to show white with the yellow. And then this is D, the female, and both the female has a grayish body, has some black in its finnage and dark black eyes. And after adding the melanin pigmentation, she darkens and has more black in her than the gray. And then in E, this is an example where they were deleting the melanin gene, the MC1R. Dang, I sent you down a rabbit hole on genetics, Susan. And I'm loving it. I may be messing it up to those who know more than I do, but I'm enjoying this. And the female here does she has some of the melanin trait taken out, but her what is this? E. Here is the after of adding that gene into her body. And then F has complete absence of the melanin pigmentation. And afterwards, you see a little bit more reddening of the spine, a little red color over the forehead, and but total absence of any black or brown pigmentation. The Moscow guppies were crossed to other solid or pattern types to create the metalhead version. Yes, that is some information that I read, but I'm going to bring out something else tonight too. Oh, a bottomless rabbit hole when you dive into genetics. Yes, because there's so many variations, so many different um, results that you can get. And I'm not going to go down that part. I'm going to leave that to Dragon Lair and the reptile people with the different morphs. Let's talk a little bit about the Moscow guppy. Okay, I'm going to share this on the screen. Oh, my question is, what do you think of? Or should I do a poll? I'm going to do a poll. Let me add this. What do you think of when you okay, let me back it up. Moscow guppies. What do you think of? Um, oh, it's not going to let me edit that. That's not a good question. Well, let me think of another question because this is yes and no. Um, are Moscow guppies solid in color only? Of course, that's going to um yes and no. Nah, forget it. Just forget it. Um, you're doing great, Susan. No worry. We all learn together. Wow, I can't type. Who can? I can't talk. All right. I'm going to share the screen. All right. And I guess I keep myself to the side. The Moscow Guppies. What are Moscow Guppies? All right. This was dated in 2018 or updated in 2018. After many years of research, chats with breeders from around the world, collected records, etc., they found it out that the first triangle delta Moscow were half body snakeskins with metallic blue heads. That's what Crown Tail Half Moon said. And here is a very beautiful example of the delta triangle shaped caudal fin with a snakeskin pattern on the body with a metal head. And I didn't know that Moscows were known for their metal head. I mean, I forgot. I really did. I forgot. Yes, Dragon Lair. I've heard that they're hardier than some other strains as well. You think fish genetics are too much. Reptile genetics can be overwhelming. Yep. And when we got started on this, Diego, and then our last guest, it was fun talking with him because these guys had educated me on the MC1R receptor gene and the T plus and T minus morphism, and they use those terms for reptiles and ball pythons, etc. So I'm like enjoying this, and I'm hoping I'm not boring everyone, but I love to find out how to get the results. I know mixing XY chromosomes with the guppy, breeding the father with the daughter, breeding the father with the granddaughter. Um, they don't encourage breeding the mother with the son because that weakens the strain. So it's all kinds of stuff. And then when you get to the point where your strain is weakening a little bit, you sometimes want to outsource, or you want to sometimes see a stronger uh, uh, gene that shows up, and then you're like, oh, got to set up more breeding tanks because you like this morph better than the other one. But anyway, they've been known. I didn't know that they were known for snakeskin. I really didn't know that. I always thought Moscows. I knew about the metalhead because I had some turquoise metalhead Moscow guppies at one time, and they were absolutely beautiful. But I let the strain die out. Not being a guppy fan, I haven't kept up with their genes, and I haven't dug enough into their genes. I love guppies. I do too, Fish Central. I took a deep dive into angelfish genetics. Yes, Dina, oh, she knows what she's talking about when it comes to angelfish. And then Dawn says, I just got my first angelfish. Congratulations, you're gonna want more. Um, Dragon Lair says everything I did in the 90s, but there is so much more now, and I need to catch up before I go back to breeding them again. And the thing of it is, another question that my friend Ken asked, um, he wants to know what is the Moscow guppy and what is the Japan guppy. He wants to know that. So we're going to discuss that too. Um, what are other shades of color? Um, okay, that talks about albinism. And then number 3, the big question. Why are all these beautiful guppies coming from outside of the US and Europe? I don't want to start an international guppy war, but I've looked at top U.S. breeders and sellers, and I don't find anything to compare to the beauty of the Asian Pacific guppies. And he says that about summarizes my dilemma. And I haven't subscribed to the TFH magazine for a while. So I'm trying to catch up on news. Oh, goodness. Dina says, I'm feeling a bit out of touch since I took a break from breeding, but picking up a few should arrive next week that have the new Bulgarian green gene. I'm looking forward to it. And Crowntail Half Moon says, Susan, are the articles public access? Yes, the page that I'm actually sharing with you, I'll put it in chat. Okay? Copy, paste. Okay. This is public. I pulled it up. And this article also talks about this fully explains the streaks and the dots in the caudal and dorsal fin due to the Y-linked gene seen on the modern Moscow guppies today. However, when most people think of a Moscow guppy, they think of a solid blue or full colored guppy. I think of the blue that, as you see here, this is a turquoise blue, aqua blue, really deep, rich colors. I've had solid black guppies. I've had three-quarter black. I've had half black guppies, and I love their bodies. Their bodies are usually longer, fuller around the midsection. Their caudal fins are either delta, triangle, in shape, and their dorsal fins can sometimes be as long as their body, and it reaches to the end of their caudal fin or at the midsection of the past the peduncle. So I have some guppy hybrids, and they are so beautiful. Yes, I'm when you have a tank full of mixed guppies, it can be the most colorful, active aquarium that you could ever think of. They were distributed to Germany and Japan, like Crowntail Half Moon said, and then spreading around the world from there. The strain first appeared in the U.S. in the Third World Guppy Contest in Milwaukee in 1998, and then he was shown by a Japanese breeder at that time. Some of the 98 World Guppy Conference show winners were purchased in auction by U.S. breeders, including Luke Roebuck. So you're welcome. Dina says, not familiar with Turkish avatar green. Must be a more local term. Oh, that's what Dragon Lair said. Everything they are Meyer colored, green than the Bulgarian. And then Susan, you could download the PDF on Guppy Color Strains by Philip. Yep, I see that. One of the best ever Russian breeders was Vladimir Storachev. I don't know if I messed his name up or not, but the Russian breeders, when talking about Moscow guppies, they don't talk about the blue, green, purple, or black Moscow. They always talk about the patterns with the stripes and the spots and the finnage, and the metalheads, of course. And then they also are known as the Moscow veiled guppy. So, Ken, if you're reviewing this live stream at a later time, I want you to know that the Moscow guppy has come from Japan as well as Russia and even within the U.S. breeding and European breeders. But his question was, why do they have more colors and vibrant, um, deep, rich colors that come from like Indonesia and the islands of the Philippines, Trinidad. You know why? And we talked about manipulation and color enhancements. And we already know that man has gotten into the glow fish, and using um, jellyfish genetics, to give them that glowing effect. They're talking about their angelfish, I think, but that's okay. We all have, there's always genetic manipulation going on. In final conclusion with the Moscow guppy, um, it is the first blue-headed guppy that appeared in Russia, Moscow region area after Vladimir began to breed guppies in artificial conditions using hormone injections. Okay, so this right here is a little genetic altering of what the species itself was carrying. So the hormone injections is what enhanced the color patterns. It changed um, the synthesis of the milanin um, trait within the color of the guppies. As we talked about, leucistic can sometimes be the absence or the inability of the skins of the body cells to absorb the pigmentation, therefore producing uh, different color patterns like the spots and the stripes and the rays that kind of like look like you put them on a easel and painted them. So, however, since the whole world has accepted the name Moscow Blue for guppies with particular characteristics, color, I will continue to represent them by that name in this article. Okay, let's talk about the modern solid Moscow guppy. The blue, green, purple, black Moscow are essentially the same. Why? Because it's all the same pigmentation, just the process that goes on within the genes and the cells of the body. They have learned how to manipulate those genes to produce different colors. But I have personally kept the black Moscow guppy, and eventually you get the blues. You can get some purpling going on, and the longer that line inbreeds within the colony, the weaker the color gets till the color almost fades away to gray and black. So that's my personal experience of over 5 years or 5 or 6 years of breeding guppies. And the F1 and F2 are the strongest colors and patterns that you will get from your fish. So you want to keep being selective in your breeding if you want to keep it strong, or you're going to have to outsource and watch. But outsourcing always can bring in a different genetic pattern that will mess up what you're doing within that strain. I do like the solid black Moscow guppies, and I love solid black fish. I do too. I like the blues better, but um, I love that solid black fish. It's the most common form, the blue Moscow is, and it can be very dark blue because of the black component to the color. The black component can become so dark as it produces a black Moscow. Yes, I got a black Moscow from the blue Moscow. Yep. And these greens, oh my goodness. These greens, I love a deep forest green, and that's what this looks like. And here is a blue with some red causing the caudal fin to cast off some purples. And then we get into the red Moscow. And the red Moscow, I've always had problems with reds, and because the red, by the time I got to an F3, they were starting to turn orange. And then eventually down the line, I got pastels, pinks and blues, kind of like a Japanese uh, blue. Doubled black angels are my favorite, especially in veils. Oh my goodness, now you're talking. Green is very nice. Yes, that green, ah, that green is to die for. You know, there's different colors that um, cause a reaction in different people, and to me, that green just pops. Dee Dee, hi, how are you doing, sweetheart? You just got eggs from her recent purchased angels. Surprise! Congratulations! Oh, that's good. I love the whole process of them laying eggs, him fertilizing them fanning them. Then they become wigglers. Then they become free swimmers. Then to watch the process of the parents actually diminishing the uh, the swarm. And Dina was trying to explain to me that they will do it in nature, uh, because for some reason they can pick off the weak ones, or they might know there's too many boys, too many girls. Who knows? I don't know what they know, but they do their own purging of the swarm. Double dark or hybrid black, impossible to tell the difference sometimes. Yes, that's awesome, Didi. I didn't even know what sexes I had. Of course, it happened in a community tank on the leaf of a prized Vallisneria. Oh my goodness. Dina, I think only when you breed them you tell from F1 colors. Everything I have, some black marble angels that the white marking on them are iridescence is green. Oh wow, that's awesome. My question about red Moscow was posed to Dr. Sergey Apriatin. Apriatin. Is it possible to make a red Moscow guppy with a red head full red Moscow? And the history of the origin when the species originated, who is the creator? His answer said American, European, Asian, full red, and Russian full red have different understanding of these phenotypes. Russian Moscow full red have about 70 to 80% of the red color on the body and fins. European is 95 to 100% of red color for the full red strains. But anyway, there's some nice information here if anybody wants to continue studying about the Moscow guppy. And I was trying to get all of Ken's comments and Renee Ros- Roskowski. And albinism is a recessive trait. And yes, I believe Dragon Lair or Tanked Aquatics discussed that last time. And the Punnett squares are for determining how to cross guppies to get albino guppies. Now, this is what I wanted to share. One of the comments from Renee. Um, the albino cross with gray will lead to gray offspring. Cross those offspring to each other, and you will get a percentage of those offspring as albino. Cross albino with albino, and you will generally get all albino in the offspring, though occasionally incomplete dominant genes are at play also, which may affect color production. Dina says she's getting hybrid black and koi gold marbles with both the Philippine blue and the Bulgarian green genes. They have an entire melting pot of variations. Isn't that interesting? Hey, Paul, how are you doing? Welcome to the live stream. Dragon Lair says, Susan, there is a fancy guppy page on Facebook. There's a guy from Germany on there that shares some unbelievable guppies. I've seen this guy on Facebook, and his guppies have the shorter body. The girth is big and rounded. The caudal fin is almost a half moon. The pattern is like um, the dragon guppies that are. I can't even describe the pattern. Kind of leoparding, but the colors that he produces are very, very deep. And anyway, his guppies are not cheap either. You have to pay for imports and stuff. Don says, I said I got my first angel. Well, my first 30 angels, LOL. Oh, you got a colony. Hey, Skull Aquatics, welcome to the live stream. And Renee also went on to explain that different color characteristics may be carried by either the male or the female or both. It is not only males that carry the color genes. That's true. It depends on whether the color is on the X or the Y chromosome. Some lines, specific colors or patterns, are actually carried on the X chromosome and are carried by the females, which would be a recessive trait that you can't really see, but she'll help produce some better colors in those males. Susan, did you see the metallic silver and black leopard ones he posted? Yes. They don't look real to me. I don't know. Uh, anyway, they don't look real to me, but I know they are. But a lot, when you're photographing fish, as a photographer and videographer myself, I understand that these fish may have some outstanding colors, but he could be enhancing those colors a little bit. I'd have to almost see that fish in person to agree. And, everybody's lighting is different. That gives a different reflection of the colors that's on that fish. I bought a 110-gallon tub from a breeder friend full of silver blue and koi. Oh, Don, you are doing some fun, fun, fun stuff. 110-gallon tub. Anyway, she does say that the female can carry color traits on the X chromosome. The Moscow is carried on the Y chromosome, and thus you need to use a male for breeding for Moscow characteristics. For example, some lines of half black guppies, the half black coloration is carried by the females. Yes, I used to have half black and three-quarter black guppies, and the females also had that black body and or a half black body. Their fins, their caudal fin and dorsal fins were black, and their bodies were very gray in color. But anyway, she helped a lot with her comments on last week's stream. Don says, I'm in Arizona, so a 400-watt titanium heater keeps it about 76. Oh, Don, I thought you were, I didn't, in Arizona. Okay, a 400-watt titanium heater keeps it about 76. Wow. I'm going to go over um, and see if I can pull that up. I hope y'all have been enjoying the discussion on albino guppies and the Moscow guppy and oh, win-win. Yep. Is it win-win? Yep. It might be. Is this the guy that you are talking about? Um, he produces some crazy, crazy guppies. I mean, now I know that he is from another place. He's from Thailand. Okay? He's from Thailand. He can produce some crazy, crazy, crazy guppies. I mean, look at these dragon. You got the red, you got the green head, the metallic head. You've got a koi, almost a koi scalage on this fish. The dorsal and the caudal fins are deep red with a black spray pattern. Um, this is a pretty guppy, but I like the deeper, richer colors. Don says, I have a bunch of young koi angels in the 125, and some should have been culled. I can't bring myself to do it. Gonna keep 'em as pets. They are blind in one eye, so the eye looks silver. It's genetic. Dragonlair says, I bred my black marble angels in 20 highs in my greenhouse year before last. Got about 250 young angels out of 4 spawns. That's really good. Dina says, now I can't type, LOL. Think I am now subscribed to everyone's channel. Thank you for showing love for love. But he, win-win, always produces. Look at these. It's not a very clear video, but these are the koi, albino red koi. And then this one here. Oh my God. Snake skin, red, yeah, fire red mosaic. Those are beautiful. And I like these. Dumbo ear. I don't know what he's calling them. Probably a koi or a panda. Maybe a red panda. I don't know what he's calling them. But he does breed some beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Are those the guppies you were talking about, Dragon Lair? Diego says get 25% on your entire order at https://petsotics.com. 3 days only. Promo code active after this stream. Oh, wow. Those are pretty. Look at those copper tones. Wynn has some awesome guppies. Yes, he does. Look at that one. Oh, my God. I've never asked him how much. I'm afraid. I'm afraid to ask. Probably will never ever be able to afford them. These are pretty. Have you and your family, male and female red dragon? Now those are pretty too. Look at the big full bodies. But the body they're not my favorite for because of the short body. I don't like the short body. I like the long body. Now, anybody who likes pastels. And these are not albino because they have a dark eye. But anyway, but would you all mind me taking a break? I will be right back. All righty. I'm back. Thank you for hanging out there. Um, they wait till I take a break, huh? So everything okay? Hope they haven't said anything else in the chat. Okay. Coming in at the end. Got a spammer or troller, whatever. Dina says, for your information, in case you missed it, my site is now running off the domain. Yes, she is running off her domain, everybody. And we're going to share her website. It is now everythingaquatic.net. Yahoo! And I'm putting it in the chat. And Diego says that his will be running that 25% off at the end. And don't forget to check out the USARC reptile organization. It is to strengthen in numbers and protect the rights for the cares of all of those beautiful reptiles. And here's some of his products as well. So go over there and check everybody out. Thank you, Lori, for knocking that person out. I'm going to have to report them. Okay, report harassing. What do you call it? Pornography. Yeah, we're gonna knock them out. We're gonna hit them high, hit them low, whatever. Dragon Lair bookmarked it. Yay! Awesome. So I'm gonna have to come over and but yeah, Win-Win's got some great, great guppies. But I hope you all have enjoyed the subject on albinism in not only guppies but in other species. And we're going to wrap it up. We understand that with the Moscow and the Japanese, some of the Japanese guppies, we also know that Japan has uh, some of their own originals. And so, are we all comfortable with staying with the label of albino if it has a pink or red eye? I think so. And also, want to remind everyone before I go that Thursday, Diego and I uh, will be live at 5 p.m. Eastern, Thursday. And we don't have a guest, do we, Diego, this Thursday? But we're going to discuss some upcoming events. We had to reschedule our friend Jeremy. We had to reschedule him for personal reasons. And we will be live on Thursday at 5 p.m. And we haven't created that yet, Diego. So I can't show it. But anyway, check out Petsotic's YouTube channel. No guest, but we will be live at 5 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. I have a video coming out in the morning. It's a short video. It's an unboxing. And then I think on Friday morning I will have another video that's coming out because I'm redoing some tanks in my fish room. And if you look behind me, I have two 10-gallon tanks. Um, this one over my shoulder right here has snails and an Anubias in it. This tank here has some mud guppies in it. That is Java moss and some mystery snails. And I'm going to rework these tanks as well. Thank you, Lori, for sharing Petsotic's website. And Dina says, when the angels arrive next week, I will post a video of them. Great. I can't wait. I hope to see you there. And I hope everyone has a safe Tuesday evening, Wednesday, the rest of the week. And happy birthday to all of the wonderful February people. Because we're just wonderful people. My birthday's on the 10th. So I'll be live with Diego on my birthday. And our guest will be now I had all of that. Our guest will be on the 10th, Diego, Wally, Supreme Gecko, or Willie, Supreme Gecko. Mine was a week ago. Happy birthday. Yes, Dina. Happy belated. Well, I wasn't late. I wished you a happy birthday last week. Happy birthday. And we hope everybody has a good evening. Again, this is Susan for SLC Aquatics. I don't have any of my banners up. Man. Let me see. Touching lives, one fish at a time. My email is slc-aquatics@gmail.com. I hope everybody got their newsletters. If you didn't get your newsletter, you can sign up at the bottom of the blog page. Um, I have a new event page that is slc-aquatics.org/events. You can find me on Facebook. Oh, nope, nope, not anymore. But on my page, my Facebook page is SLC Aquatics. So, again, Susan for SLC Aquatics, wishing you all a very blessed evening, and we hope to see you again on Thursday on Pet Sotics channel. God bless you, and I love you. Bye bye.